130 polling stations, and the total number of polling stations in Malava.
We do apologize for that. We have to try and come back to Jeff Kirui there. We apologize for the sound there, a bit of a technical challenge, but I'm sure we are looking into that just to make sure that we get back to Jeff and he can give us more updates. But again, just to reiterate what Jeff was talking about there, the race in Malava constituency seems to be coming to a two-horse race, and that's between the UDA candidate David Ndakwa and Dapke Seth Panyako. And of course, again, we'll be giving you more details there from Malava. However, right now I want us to cross over to Mbeere North, where we have Clement Masombo. And of course, we do know the country is waiting with bated breath for the outcome of today's by-elections countrywide. Counting and tallying of the votes are still ongoing in most electoral areas where the by-elections were held. And right now, let's just look at what is happening in Mbeere North with our reporter Clement Masombo, who has been stationed there for quite some time. I know it's been a whole day's affair. Clement, if you can hear me, I know you've had a very long day trying to keep abreast of all the issues and activities in Mbeere North. Could you please tell us what is happening right now in that particular constituency?
Well, very good evening to you. Indeed, it has been a day full of activities, running up and down, trying to catch up with what is happening. Right now, where we are is at the St. Bakita Siakago Girls High School, which is the constituency tallying center. And what is happening right now, as you can see, that is the constituency returning officer, Mr. John Kinywa. He's just reading out some of the results that have been submitted so far. A few number of polling stations out of the total 134 have reported their results, and he's reading them out to the agents, observers, and all other stakeholders who are inside here, of course, following up on as the results flow in. But then just to mention is that we have had quite activities during the day, and as late as this evening, activities, the incidents of chaos witnessed in various parts, including Giteburi Primary School, which is one of the polling stations around here, where we saw there were a number of to an extent of journalists being blocked, being denied access to the polling stations. And they were not denied access by police officers, they were denied access by youth who were armed at the gate. They were manning the gate, actually just making sure that we do not gain access to the polling station. And even for those who were allowed, the instructions were very clear that no taking fake checks, no accessing the the classrooms which were being used as the polling stations. And as by that time, counting of the votes was happening. So those are just some of the concerns that we have witnessed. Earlier on in the day, we also witnessed at St. Kizito Primary School, which is also one of the polling stations. We witnessed a motorbike that was trying to gain access to that polling station, carrying some materials that were believed to belong to IEBC, and the residents who were there, the youth who were at the gate, denied that motorbike, the riders access, and actually they burnt down those materials. So those are just some of the incidents that we have reported, that we have witnessed today. And a lot has been happening, considering that this is a race that has attracted a very serious attention, because we saw even during the campaigns that it was a battle between Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki and DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua. So we will be pitching tent here. As the results come in, of course, we will be relaying them live to our viewers. That's all for now.
Interesting to hear what you're saying, Clement. I just have a question for Clement. I don't know if he's still with us, but in case we... Clement, bearing in mind the things that you have mentioned, a motorbike that was barred from coming in with the votes that had been cast earlier on. Of course, you've mentioned journalists at some point who are barred from access, not even allowed to do filming or taking photographs. Was there any response from the IEBC regarding these kinds of activities where journalists are not even allowed to take pictures or do some bit of filming filming, even for the accountability of showing the viewers, Kenyans, what is happening. Is there any response from the IEBC on this issue?
Interestingly, nothing has, we have not heard anything from them, neither have we heard anything from the police or security officers, so to speak. And at a place like Gitiburi Primary School, we witnessed some motorbikes being torched. They were totally burnt down in the presence of police officers, and there was no any kind of response. There was no any kind of measure to try to rescue even those who were there. So those are that only raises a lot of questions, and of course, I believe that those who are affected will have a lot to say when all this is said, and when all the dust settles from here. Those who are affected will, of course, have a lot to say and concerns about the credibility of the elections.
Well, we do know that Mbeere North is one of the hotly